NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
And just before we get started, a word from our sponsors, NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/talkingcity. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Talking City podcast with myself, Alex James, and as per usual, Simon Bajkowski. How are you, Si?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good. I had a traumatic experience this morning. I was running on a treadmill.
That does sound traumatic.
It was traumatic. I was at the fastest point of my run. It was the last kind of interval run.
The big push.
I needed to do. And then all the power went off all the machines.
Oh, did you get flung?
I was close to being flung, yeah.
Cartoon style, hole in the wall.
I felt like Darren Fletcher must have felt last night when he was watching what he thought was Manchester City getting their medals, and then it turned into a Man City parade as he blasted it.
I had a traumatic experience this morning as well.
Did you?
In that I went to take my one child to school, my other child to a football class.
Okay.
Which is not traumatic. Well, can be traumatic, but this morning wasn't traumatic. Impeccably behaved children.
Yeah.
Returned home and realised that in the youngest child, who was 2, going to rinse his toothbrush, he hadn't fully turned off the tap. So so I got in and thought, what's that noise? And it turned out it was overflowing water in the downstairs toilet.
Oh no.
So several towels later, it wasn't as bad as it could have been because there's like a little box which we keep like toothbrushes in and stuff.
Okay.
So most of it had gone into there, but I could have done without the 20-minute mop up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those where you want your children to sort of do things for themselves.
Yeah.
So you don't have to, but then you do get annoyed when they don't
I
do
did
things
say
properly.
I did say to him, because he came in asking what I was doing, which was a fair enough question. And I did point out that
cleaning up your mess.
Yeah, but I said I don't really want to blame you. I can only really blame myself. So there we go. Talking of youth and going back to the Youth Cup.
Yes.
How was Thursday night?
Yeah, it was a very poor game. It was 2 teams who performed to nowhere near their ability. City United, kind of the top 2 teams in the Northern League this season, and also have a lot of sort of very talented players beyond that in the likes of, say, Regan Heskey, Ryan McAdoo, who don't play a lot of under-18s football because they're playing for the under-21s or training with the first team and things like that. However, City were the better team and deserved to win and won 2-1. And you could kind of feel how much it meant to them, which was very nice. And there's been a lot made about the stadium venue.
There's been a lot made about everything. It feels like everything to do with that game has been hyperbole.
Yeah, I think Andy Burnham said it should be at the Etihad, West Street and at Old Trafford. And there was lots going on. I don't think it was a great look or a great effort that it wasn't kind of close to being full. I know there's a lot going on with City fans going to Wembley again, and et cetera, et cetera. The club never seemed to push youth games that well. But yeah, it was a real shame for the players that it wasn't full. But City were the better team and deservedly won with a goal a few minutes before the end of time when a lot of players were kind of getting ready for extra time.
I only watched the second half once I'd done bedtime, and I thought Ryan McAdoo was superb in that second half. You would expect him to be towards the top of the best players list, but in the build-up, so much was made of, and that's on me because I make a lot of Teddy Lamb a lot of the time.
Yeah, but I mean, Teddy Lamb was put up for interview before the game, and then spoke about JJ Gabriel, and they've had a bit of a ding dong over the last few weeks going for the Golden Boot in the league, so it was kind of all about them. But if you had kind of stepped back, you would have said Ryan McAdoo is the best player on the pitch, will be the best player on the pitch, and he was. He again, he wasn't perfect, but he kind of did enough that kind of City should have won by more because of things that he did, but they didn't, but they won anyway, so that's nice for him. And also nice because he would have played in last year's final, I think, but he picked up a big injury just before it, kind of on a few days before it maybe, that kept him out of it.
Would you expect to see him or some or a couple of these players now either A, go out on loan into the EFL, or B, be part of City's pre-season because it's a World Cup year, because so many players will be out of the World Cup, and Ryan McAdoo obviously has played and scored against Exeter, didn't he? So he's sort of showing what he can do. He's involved in first team training a lot. Do you sort of see a pathway for a couple of these to move into, the periphery of senior football at City, or, a Championship loan, a League One loan?
Yeah, both, I think. I think a handful, if not more, will go on tour, because numbers will be really, really low. So probably more than a handful. You're probably talking a dozen or so.
You better bring your boots.
Yeah. And that will be a great opportunity. Ryan McAdoo stands out as the one that I think has the biggest chance of staying with the first team next year and being kind of pushed up in the way that kind of Oscar Bob was and others have been. But it also depends. He might feel like he wants to go out on loan. You've got kind of Ollie Watmough, who was really good last year, and City kind of wanted him to stay again, but he's gone out on loan, had incredible experience at Rochdale, topped off with being a shootout hero for them at Wembley. So I think there are a lot of these under 18 players. Regan Heskey scored the winning goal and could get a move either on loan or permanent, and then there will be more players who are looking at their options and seeing what they fancy. I mean, Caden Braithwaite I thought was brilliant last night as kind of centre-back and as captain. Yeah. Because, again, it wasn't easy with kind of heads not always on around him. Harrison Miles in front of him was very good. They were mostly very good with his centre-back partner, Leke Drake, but Drake kind of slipped for the goal. But Braithwaite made his debut in 2024 for Guardiola, but has been with the 18s all year, and has been with the 18s not because he's been injured or anything, but it's just that they have this production line in front of him, and last season there was Simpson, Pusey and Max Allain, who were kind of the under 21s pair, and this year there's been Harrison Parker and Steph Mafuni, and Elaine has come back, and just like this production line of incredible centre backs. So I mean, maybe Braithwaite will go up to the 21s, but maybe he will fancy getting out there and having a loan somewhere. So there's a lot of talent in the team, and they will, opportunities ahead for the summer and beyond.
Braithwaite did the TV interview I was watching on TNT. I don't know if it was, I presume they were taking the same feed on the BBC, but Braithwaite spoke afterwards, and I think it was Harrison Miles who spoke as well. There was two of them, and they spoke really, really well for two. I don't know how old they are. 18, off the top of my head, 18-year-olds. I thought that was and I know you've done a bit with the academy in recent weeks and spoken to a few players who also have spoken well, and it's a good look when you're able to have a conversation and the person who's been interviewed is happy to be there, says all the right things, engages in everything, and isn't, maybe what a 16-year-old, 17-year-old could be, which is a mumbles and looks at the floor, which is maybe what I would have been like at 16.
You can't really overstate enough how much that makes a difference with Guardiola and the first team. Like, if a lot of these youngsters get the chance to train in the first team, and Pep doesn't expect them to be like world beating and kind of embarrassing all the first team players and everything like that. He expects them to be polite and committed and open to learning and open to being asked to do things that they might not normally, or asked to doing things that, you know, will be for the benefit of the first team primarily and maybe not them. But they're asked to kind of do all that with the right attitude. And that is kind of the number one, how do you impress Pep Guardiola? And so you do find a lot of these players are really bright and intelligent and can speak very well and represent the club very well. And I thought they did that. A quick moment for Teddy Lamb, who's kind of caught the attention of City fans for when Heskey's goal goes in.
Yeah.
He
got booked, didn't he? For
he steps forward towards the United fans and properly gives it the badge, which was very funny. And also you do need a bit of that in your team as well. You can't have a team of people who are too nice.
Nice young men.
Yeah. So that was quite funny.
Speaking of Pep, I saw him watching on with what looked like a glass of red, actually. It looked like he was having a lovely evening.
Yes. That's how he is every day. Every night he's up there. It just happened to be a game on Thursday, yeah.
Well, he wasn't there when I was there at the 21s having a glass of red.
Right.
I can tell you. Well, if he
How'd
was.
you know?
Well, would I have seen him?
No, he's in the boardroom.
No. So I'd have needed my long lens. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. FA Cup final. Saturday against Chelsea. We saw 6 changes, was it, in the end on Wednesday night against Palace, which felt like
too many.
It felt like too many.
But it wasn't.
But as it turned out, it was as perfect as it could have gone for City and for Pep, because they got a 3-0 win. They boosted the goal difference. They didn't need to call on Haaland. They only called on Doku and Cherki briefly. They didn't need Nico O'Reilly in the squad at all.
Yeah.
Where do you see the team? How do you see the team? Is it going to be what we've come to associate with City's first choice 11 in recent weeks, other than Trafford will play?
I think it would be close to it, but there's obviously a question over who plays with Bernardo Silva, because he's had 4 partners in 4 games. Does Phil Foden play there? Foden kind of potentially playing himself into City contention and England contention, which again, like I've seen a lot say, oh, he has one good game and he's like talked about for England, but it's kind of like, well, the players that he's up against, like, when was the last time Cole Palmer ran a game? When was the last time Eze ran a game? So,
yeah, and like, Phil Foden did have, I don't know, 15, 20 good games.
Well, he's got, I think he's got
earlier
more
in the season.
Yeah. So but it's kind of like, well, no one's saying he's done amazingly, but like the bar is low, guys, for what to do to get into the England squad, especially when you have got past performances to fall back on. So Foden could play his way in either alongside Silva, or maybe, are you set on Cherki and Semenyo? Maybe one of those kind of drops out, although Semenyo scored on Wednesday and Cherki came on and gave the assist for
Semenyo's just got a knack of scoring goals, hasn't he? He's not always in a game, but he finds a moment.
Yeah, I mean, Cherki kind of ran the show against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge as well, so you probably think he plays
and
for
then
that.
Is the other question, I guess, centre back Mark Gahey and another?
Yeah, I think it'll be Kusanov. I think he's played more than any other centre back for City this season, so he's in there. I think Kusanov gets the nod over Stones, Ake and Diaz. And I mean, Gvardiol was the other highlight of Wednesday night. He was looked like he'd never been away.
Yeah.
Was really good.
Saved a goal at one end with a big block early on. Nearly scored
Yeah.
at the other end in the first half with that header that was clawed
Yeah.
out by Henderson.
Yeah. And spoke to him after the game, and he was kind of like, he kind of took it as a challenge. He got told he would be out for 4 to 6 months, so he said, right, well, it's going to be 4. And it is 4.
Yeah.
And he's back, and he was as surprised as anyone that he was starting. Fully didn't expect that at all. But someone asked him, "Oh, can you go again on Saturday?" And he was kind of like, "Let's see." I think Wednesday night was still pretty fresh when he spoke, because he was pretty knackered. But because he could go left back and you could play O'Reilly in the middle, but I kind of think O'Reilly's best on the left with Doku. So yeah, I think it will be very close to the team that we have seen from City and the team that played at Stamford Bridge.
Just a couple of things on Foden, because Pep brought up a couple of times in his press conference on Wednesday how impressed he was with him in that position. The way he was talking seemed to suggest that he could see, not necessarily long term, but certainly for the next 4 games, see Foden as an option in, I was going to say a defensive midfield position, but it's not quite what it is. But he referenced him as box to box. He spoke about his intelligence. He spoke about his ability to carry the ball. And Pep doesn't seem to have settled on Reinders. He doesn't. No. Kovacic, I think, is, you know where you stand with Kovacic. And poor old Nico Gonzalez, who crashed in a winner in the semi-final, wasn't even in the squad on Wednesday. And I know somebody's got to not be in the squad.
It's never great when it's you.
No.
Is he going to get the Rico Lewis treatment of scoring in the semi and not making the squad for the final?
Exactly the parallel I was just about to draw. Where do we sit with Nico Gonzalez at the moment? Because he didn't have a good game at Everton.
No.
But that was only one game.
Yeah, it's just been really weird, because if you remember at the start of the season when they played at Huddersfield in the League Cup, and Pep spent about 10, 15 minutes with him after the final whistle, like on the pitch, and he was kind of like, he's nearly there. He's like, he's got loads of good things. He's just not quite there. And then he kind of got there, and he's played 15 games in a row between October and January, I think. It was like still the most any City player has done consecutively this season, and was like, City can't play without him. He's been unbelievable. And then almost as quickly, he just said, nope, he's not playing again. And when he has played, he's played like a player who's not played in ages. So he's just kind of fully out of rhythm. And it's in that kind of pocket that I guess Marmoush was in for a while, and Savinho has been, where sort of if you're only playing in fits and starts, then you're never really going to show your best. But then if those are your few opportunities, then they don't keep coming along. So a big few weeks for Gonzalez, and a big summer for him.
Is
it
possible they sell him?
It's possible to sell every player, but there was a bit of talk last summer about it. They're obviously losing Bernardo Silva. Rodri, they would like Rodri to stay, but that needs to kind of be firmed up this summer before you go shipping off Nico Gonzalez. And also, if you are to sell him, you probably want your money back on him.
Yeah, which I guess it's possible, but
but then also it's a World Cup summer. Player, values go up through the World Cup, or people spot players at the World Cup and think, that's great. Is Gonzalez going to be involved? I'm not so sure. So does that, does that make him appealing to other clubs? Probably not.
No. If anything, you would imagine that would make him more appealing to City, because he can have a full pre-season. You are losing Bernardo. What happens with Rodri's future, we don't know, but you can't, based on recent history, you can't rely on Rodri playing 40 games in the season, let alone 60.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at Kovacic, and then suddenly Phil Foden as you're starting.
Yeah. Phil Foden starts 6. First game of next season. You heard it here.
Phil Foden turns to the Gundogan.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Any other business?
Got an interview with Mark Gay going on the website later, in the paper tomorrow. Quite nice.
Do you care to elaborate on what might be in it, or can we not do that?
Well, he's just obviously was a Chelsea boy, wasn't he? And then Palace won the FA Cup with them last year. Could be. Here's a stat for you.
Go on.
Could become the 4th player to win the FA Cup in consecutive years with different clubs. Can you name any of the 3?
Well, I can't off the top of my head, but I feel like this is the kind of question that usually has an answer that's Nicholas Anelka. So I'll try him.
Ooh, good shout.
And I'll also try William Gallas.
Not the correct players.
Yeah, which is a problem.
Or quite eras. But clubs were there. Olivier Giroud won it with Arsenal and Chelsea, 2017 and 2018. Somebody else. Whose name I've forgotten. Won it with Ipswich and Chelsea in 78 and 79.
Right.
And somebody else I've forgotten.
I'll tell you what, you have
won it with Wanderers and Old Etonians in 1878 and 79.
Well, I was a bit disappointed I couldn't offer you a guess for Ipswich and Chelsea, but I definitely can't offer you a guess for
Yes. Yeah. So I don't mind not remembering the names of people who were playing before I was born.
Yeah.
But Gay, he could become the 4th player. And yeah, it's a bit of history there. And also the first player to win it after being knocked out, because he got dumped out at Macclesfield, didn't he? With Palace.
Oh, yeah.
And then went over to the fans. And
yeah. What a strange season it's been for that, and also the rules around being cup tied.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, he speaks quite well about not being able to play in the Carabao final because he was the only cup tied player.
Yeah, in a competition, wasn't
Yeah. So, it's been quite the year for him, going back to like winning with Palace and then failing completing a Liverpool medical, but that deal being pulled at the last minute. And good. Strange. Yeah. So that was nice.
That'll be a good read. So that's
hopefully
today, Friday. Obviously, FA Cup final tomorrow, Saturday. You can follow it all with us from Wembley, and we will be back again for another podcast on Monday, I would imagine. I don't see why.
Yeah,
not.
Monday before the trip down,
before the long trip to Bournemouth, which I'm not making, but you are.
Yes.
And I know you're excited about it.
Very excited.
So, as ever, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I will see you soon.